Have you ever felt like the world is constantly against you? Life is just a series of frustrations, disappointments, and aches. We all experience anxiety, anger, fear, and boredom. But have you ever stopped to ask why? Why is there so much suffering in the world? And more importantly, why is it in me? It's a question humanity has asked forever. The suffering of one person is a pain we all share. Whether we know it or not, the suffering of poverty, of ignorance, the pain brought about by death and wars. We see animals being tortured. We read about immense suffering brought about by wars and dictators. And we say, my God, why do I suffer? And we try to escape through various forms of traditions, entertainment, work, or distractions. We tend to think that suffering is a bad thing that happens to us. But the truth is, suffering is not an event, it's a reaction. It is the moment we resist what is happening. What we call suffering is simply the conflict between the reality and our mental image of how things should be. You want to be happy, but you're not. You want to be with someone, but they have left. You want a certain job, but you didn't get it. In that gap, in that moment of conflict, is suffering. We spend our lives trying to avoid this pain, looking for distractions and easy solutions. But what if the path to true freedom is not escaping, but looking in directly at the source? When we feel pain, we say, I am suffering. We believe that this I, this self, this ego is real, a solid thing that experiences these feelings. But what is this I truly made out of? The source of sorrow is in memory, in the dead things of yesterday. Remember, the dead things of yesterday. Our minds are constantly creating stories based on our past experiences, our knowledge, and our desires. This is the ego, a collection of labels and memories. I'm a successful person. I'm a loving partner. I'm a good parent. When your partner leaves or you lose your job, what truly hurts? That's a question to answer. You're not just crying for that person or the job that is gone. You're crying for that part of your ego that was defined by them. The most intense pain is the moment of collision, when your ego is shattered. This is a profound moment of humility. Our brain is a storehouse of experience and knowledge and tradition. This baggage of memory is what creates the illusion of a separate I. And in this separate I that constantly gets into conflict with what is or other people, breeding endless misery. Consider the death of a loved one, a friend, a partner, or a parent. People often think they are grieving for the person who is no longer here. But look closer. You're grieving for the part of your own identity that was created by that person. When a father dies, a son loses not only his dad, but also that aspect of himself that was defined by being a son to a specific man. When a best friend is gone, a part of your story is gone. Your life's narrative is gone with them. This is the death of an identity. This is the ending of a story. We're caught in a mental trap of our own making, the illusion of opposites. Our minds, through thought, create a division between what is and what we want it to be. We desire things, and we also fear losing them. They are a single, uninterrupted movement of the same energy. But these are not separate feelings. They are a single, indivisible current. What we call happiness is often just a mental idea, fleeting kick that comes from a desire being fulfilled. It is not a true experience of energy. Deep down, we long for being truly alive and the truth. We long to feel what it's like to be a limitless vibration, being nothing that is everything. We seek this through brief indulgences, through highs and lows, but it is always fleeting. Why? Because the mind is trying to capture that which is unlimited in a small, limited frame. The right way is not to choose between good and bad experiences. That is just another way of feeding your ego. True freedom comes from simply observing what is without judgment. The moment you stop dividing the external world, your internal energy stops being fragmented and trapped. This fragmentation is the very state of suffering. So, what is the path out of this cycle of suffering? It's not in trying to become someone else or in becoming a spiritual seeker. It's not you that wants to be free, it's life that longs to be alive and aware. The key is to see the fact. When you're in the midst of suffering, don't look for an escape. Instead, stay with it. In suffering, become attentive. You're no longer able to pretend or brag. This is where you see yourself naked as you are. It's the unconditioned, unfiltered, and honest observer, not the story you tell to yourself. It is the humility that comes from this direct observation that truly opens your eyes to see things as they are. When you truly see, your old stories and narratives cannot go on. The very idea of, I want to be liberated, free me, also comes from the ego and it comes to an end. True liberation isn't about escaping life, it's about seeing life as it is. It's about letting go of the internal division created by thought. This is the end of, this is what I like, this is what I don't like. When you stop dividing the external world, your internal energy stops being fragmented and trapped. This fragmentation is again the very state of suffering, the very state of being a dense collection of thoughts. This brings us to a radical but utterly essential point: dying before death. Don't get me wrong, we are not speaking of a physical death. We're speaking of ending the me right now, in this very moment. The ego, this collection of memories and desires, is the source of all conflict and sorrow. To die before death means end the known completely. It means every story, every idea, every belief about who you are is put to a full stop. It's a psychological death that is total and absolute and the past. It is the ultimate liberation. When the me dies, the conflict, the contradictions, constant fear and pain cease. Entire house of suffering collapses. The mind, which once a prison of thought, becomes empty and still. It's an inner stillness where life's contradictions cease to exist. There is no longer a gap between what is and what should be, because the one who wanted to be something else is gone. This is the only way to truly live. It's not something that you can achieve or earn or through practice. It's a moment of total surrender, a complete letting go of all the dead things of yesterday. And in that emptiness, the mind becomes alive in a way it was never before. So my friends, don't seek happiness. Don't try to escape your pain. Instead, in the midst of suffering, just look. Look at what is, without judgment. See the fact without the story you have attached to it. In this choiceless awareness, you might find that suffering you were so desperately trying to run away from was not real at all. And in this death, something new can blossom, which is life. Remember, the essence of suffering is the total expression of a complete self-centered existence. If there was no me, would you suffer? This is not agreement, but a beautiful beginning. This is where the trapped energy is released. You become a vibration of life again. A child who is innocent, unconditioned. In this state, suffering will disappear. This is not just only for you, but for the whole human beings. Thanks for joining today. Until next time, know yourself. Peace out.